Okay, apologies. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm sorry I was muted. I didn't realize I was muted. I thought I had unmuted. Welcome to another edition of the Open Expert Series. We're so glad to have you here. This has been long awaited for, and we are having our first launch for 2026. We have the Open Expert Series. We usually call it OES, and this has been designed to meet your needs as a business entrepreneur in the food and agricultural space. So I would like to say, welcome, relax. This is going to be a fun ride with you. I don't know wherever you're connecting from. It could be afternoon, it could be evening, it could be morning. It's afternoon in Nigeria, and I'll say good afternoon to you. Okay, so we are going to be doing what we always do best to introduce ourselves in the chat room. I would like us to introduce yourself because we'd like to know you and get more familiar with you. So let us know your name, your business, your value chain, and where you're connecting from. Um, yes. So I'll run that again. Your name, your business, your agribusiness, the country where you're connecting from, and the value chain that you're operating in. For the agenda, I would like to run that through. So give me the previous slide so that we can be able to be aware of what the program is going to look like. Like I said, let's relax. We're going to have a fun ride today because this is one thing that has been a question on everybody's mind, the series we have for you today. So we're taking the introductions. Like I said, if you're coming in, introduce yourself. We'd like to know you better, your name, your agribusiness, the country which you're connecting from, and your value chain. Okay, I would also be running through the about AFC. We want to let you know what AFC does as usual. We'll also set the context. Then we will go to the next segment, which will have our speaker for today speak to you on what we have in store for the OAS. And we have Dr. Obiora Madu, who's going to be taking today's session. Then right after a session, we'll be having the question and answer session, and then we'll take our group further. Right after that, we'll go to the next segment, which means we'll be connecting you to the AFC proper, where we'll do our membership drive. I know a lot of us are members and some of us are yet to become members. We would like to do a run through of what the AFC community is all about and get you registered as a member so you could now start enjoying the benefits. And the last but not the least, we'll be taking our next steps and then the closing remarks. So thank you. I'll be looking forward to your introductions. Thank you, Roger, for sending in your introduction. I'm waiting for many more who are connecting. Roger is connecting from Cote d'Ivoire. Sadia is connecting from, okay, that had gone past. We have Judith from Zimbabwe. Welcome. Sadia, welcome. We are happy to have you here. So for a bit of housekeeping, we would like to set the ground rules, which is, in every meeting, there are always ground rules so that we can always have an orderly meeting and, an effective one that would, give us a good result. So one of our ground rules is for you to be able to express yourself, whatever questions you have. If you want to say something, maybe during the Q&A session, please use the icons below to raise your hand. And when you do that, we will be able to take your question. For those who love maybe what the facilitator is saying, you can just do a thumbs up or a love icon, whatever you are familiar with. You do that with the icons below.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So apologies about that. I'll pick it up from where she stopped. So right about now, we are going to introduce African food change makers. I know some persons here are already a member of the community, but for those who are yet to be a member or who are yet to know about African food change makers, we are a membership community of over 10,000 agripreneurs across African countries. What we do is to enable African entrepreneurs to scale resilient and sustainable agribusiness that can feed Africa and the world. And we do this by providing funding opportunities, trade linkage, market access, and also fostering a vibrant community of change makers. So we have a community, like I said earlier, and in this community, when you become a member, you have access to this community of all these entrepreneurs across Africa, where you're able to rub mind, like-minded people is who they are, and you're able to share your challenges, learn from them, get some knowledge, and also if there are any assistance you need within your sector, there are other people on the platform who also operate in that sector and can be able to get knowledge from them. As well as we also provide capacity building for agripreneurs. We do this by providing trainings such as what we're having now. But aside this, we have several other things that cut across climate smart agriculture, women empowerment, and export related training, as well as agribusiness development, such as financing, cultural financing. Thirdly, we also provide business growth and market access. We have a marketplace on our platform that allows you to showcase your business to audience within and outside of Africa. If you're a member, you're able to make use of the marketplace by uploading your products, putting your details there, and anyone who is interested in buying is able to come into your DM, message you directly, and access and buy your products. Lastly, we provide visibility and recognition. We celebrate your wins. We showcase what you are doing. We push your voice out there. We send it to our partners. We spotlight you across our social media platform and pages. Okay, so during registration, we sort of ask some questions from participants just in order to be able to understand where you are currently based on the subject matter. And from this, when we said we had over 500 persons who took the survey, and here are some of the responses we were able to compile from the survey. For every one of us here, for every one of us on this call today, our product categories actually across processed foods at 40%, other at 35%, nut and grains 70%, spices and condiments 9%. So which means majority of us on this call are processors. Huge. As regard export license, 69% of us is not currently registered or have an export license, while 29% have, and 2% are not even sure of it. So that is one of the things this session is going to expose you to understand it and to know from where you can get it. Lastly, we ask participants to rate their compliance readiness to know where you are currently or the status of your business as currently as related to export compliance. 42% said they don't have any documentation in place at all. Probably they don't even have the knowledge of it or don't even know what to get. While 90% said they have a little documentation, mostly unsure of what is needed. 70% also recorded that they have some documents ready, but not all. And while 11% said most documents ready with few gaps, and then 10%, just 10% are fully ready. So this brings us to a conclusion that majority of us on this call do have our export documentation. Okay, so I will hand over back to.
Okay, thank you, Bushra, for stepping in. As usual, the network is quite bad because of the weather, so I apologize for that glitch. Thank you so much, Bushra, for stepping in. So I would like us to do a drum roll. This is the time where we sit tight, buckle our seatbelt as we welcome our speaker for today, who will be taking us on the topic. Our speaker for today is Dr. Obiora Madu. He's the Director General of the African Center for Supply Chain. Dr. Obiora Madu is a globally respected supply chain strategist, international trade expert, and a transformational leader with over 33 years of international corporate experience. He serves as a Director General of the African Center for Supply Chain, CEO of Multimix Group, and President of the Association of Outsourcing Professionals of Nigeria, AOPN. An adjunct professor at the Malaysian University of Science and Technology, he also lectures at the University of Port Harcourt, Nnamdi Azikiwe University as well, and Kaduna State University. He holds a doctorate in business administration from SMC University, Switzerland, and was a recipient of the 2014 National Productivity Order of Merit Award from the President of Nigeria. Bravo, sir. Dr. Madu has worked with leading international organizations, including the International Trade Center, Geneva, USAID, the Commonwealth Secretariat, the U.S. Commercial Service, and the African Development Bank. I think this is what he's saying. He says supply chains do not fail because disruptions exist. They fail because leadership is unprepared for disruption. With aroused innovation using the clap icon below, let's welcome our speaker, our facilitator for today, Dr. Obiora Madu. You're welcome, sir. You can unmute and speak. Let's clap. Let's keep it rolling, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Hand clap. Keep it rolling.
Need permission.
You're welcome,
okay.
Sir. You're welcome, sir. Lovely to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We're honored to
thank you, everyone.
Have you accept our invitation. Welcome, sir. You can go ahead.
Thank
please.
you. Let me commend, first of all, let me commend your group, because when I got the mail I got today about these percentages you showed, it actually drove me immediately to go and do some work on my slides, because otherwise I would have probably been speaking, I would think that I'm speaking to experts and professionals, when indeed I need to start from the ground floor. So I had to do some work. So I commend you for that, because many a time facilitators walk into programs not even knowing who they are talking to. So thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you so much, sir. We are lovely. We're happy to have you here.
Everyone that is here, I want to welcome you. And I've been in export and international trade related issues in the last 36 years. As a teacher, as a banker, as a consultant, of course, dealing with international trade and the supply chain that backs it up. So let me go to the subject of the day, which is compliance. Let me share. Do I have authority to share? Yes. All right. Are you seeing my slide?
Yes, sir, we are.
All right, so export compliance, what you must have before the deal arrives. For exporters of processed food, nuts and grains, agro-processors, commodity traders, compliance officers, SME exporters. I'm sure that we have the bulk of SME exporters here, of course, who may be exporting agro, commodity, food stuff, processed food, and the rest of them. So, what is compliance? Compliance is ability to carry out your export transactions, obeying the international trade laws, rules and regulations, the laws, trade laws of your land, and the trade laws of the country that you are going to. Simple. In fact, everything about international trade from the beginning to the end is compliance. So if you do not understand compliance, go and find something else to do. So I'm going to run fast on some slides. By the way, how much time do I have?
You have 40 minutes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So let's start. This is my brief profile. I'm not going to waste time there. When you get the slide, you can see it not far from what you were just told about me. Now, let's start with some compliance quotes. These compliance quotes will put us in a position to actually absorb what we are going to discuss. First one is that the international market is ruthless, it is selective, and it is fiercely competitive. I think that statement is enough to scare a newcomer, but it shouldn't, because it is ruthless in the sense that if you are not going to be compliant, try something else. Selective, because it is not a market for everybody. It's not a market for everybody. Fiercely competitive, other people are selling what you're selling. So you can't just say, why can't they accept this? If we take Sesame Seed, for example, we achieved 98% purity. Guatemala has achieved 99 point something. Second one says, many exporters focus on finding buyers. The smart exporters focus on meeting compliance requirements. So many of us, in fact, as a consultant, a client, an exporter walked into my office, had issues with them at the reception. Eventually, when he came, 2 minutes or 3, he was on his way out. They were asking me, what did I do? I said, I simply showed him that he's not ready. He says, market. That's okay. If I pull a contract from my drawer, sign it, and give you, can you deliver? He said, well, I will now go and look for what we are talking about. Again, I've had an exporter who came when I was doing wood, because I was actually in export myself. Say he wants to supply me yellow upper, for those who understand wood. I went to my office, brought out 3 pieces of wood. One was red upper, one was yellow upper, one was Iroko. So I told him to choose the wood that he wants to supply. He picked Iroko because it's a bit yellowish. Now let's take the third one. Export deals are lost more often to compliance gaps than the product quality issue. Many a time, it is not the product quality. In fact, I don't have time. If I had time, I would tell you so many stories of what happened to people as a result of compliance rather than quality of products. Finally, the fourth one, the global marketplace is open to everyone, but only compliant exporters are allowed to stay. In fact, if you go through these 4 quotes, it would have taught you enough lesson that as an exporter, you can't joke with compliance. So let's go. Let's look at the export opportunity that we're talking about and why you must participate. But if you must, you have to be compliant. Global food trade exceeds $3 trillion annually, a massive opportunity for African exporters. African foods are in high demand right now across the globe. 2, growing demand, rising global demand for African foods, grains, spices, nuts, and processed products. Thirdly, AFTA opens doors. The African Continental Free Trade Area is unlocking significant regional trade opportunities. You know that part of the reason for AFTA is to enable us as Africans to trade among ourselves. I mean, intra-African trade now, I think it's a little less than 15%, but in Asia it is 50%, in Europe it is 60%. So you can see we have a long way to go. Hopefully, AFTA will be able to bridge that gap. At the end of the opportunity, compliance is key. Export success depends on compliance, not just production capacity or pricing. So the reality, most export deals fail because exporters prepare after receiving orders, not before it. Why export deals collapse? Despite strong production capacity and competitive pricing, export deals collapse for preventable reasons. Preventable reasons. First one is product rejection. Goods fail to meet destination across the continent. We Nigerians, you know about this beans story, that our beans currently do not go into the EU. And the reason is simple. It is the residual chemicals which exceeds the limits, the international limits that are allowed. So EU is helping Nigeria government to build a quality infrastructure that can help. Until they do that, you cannot take our beans to Europe. Second reason why export deals collapse is missing certifications. Required food certifications or quality certificates he sends you a letter of credit, hopefully, and you accept, you start the transaction. That's already a discrepancy when you can't do it exactly the way he asked. The next one is one of the biggest challenges, documentation errors. When I was in the banking sector for about 10 years, export documents submitted by Nigerian companies, 95% of them had errors, had discrepancies. So incorrect or incomplete trade documents delay or even block the shipments completely. Poor traceability, that's a challenge. They move goods from one warehouse, they put chemical. From there, they move it to another warehouse, put chemical. And they're just doing it. That's why the residue is always high. You can't even trace the origin of the product. Then regulatory violations. Failure to comply with importing country rules. We will see some of them as we go. But of course, you must ship food items into the US. You have to have an FDA certification. So here are things that make export deals to collapse. But all of them are preventable. The cost of non-compliance is terrible. You don't wish that to your enemy. The consequences of export non-compliance extend far beyond a single rejected shipment. They can permanently damage your business and damage your country. Because part of the challenge we face as Nigerians in the international market now are actually the consequences of non-compliance over years and the wrong attitude to contracts. We are paying for it now, but the people who did it are all gone. One of the consequences is shipment seizure. Goods held at the border identified indefinitely by custom authorities. The other one is product destruction. I think somebody shipped fish to US sometime, and when they just tried to inspect, pick up one fish, as they broke it, a maggot fell from there. Of course, the entire product was set ablaze. Buyer blacklisting, that one is easy. They'll blacklist you probably from the entire country. It's not just a customer, one customer blacklisting you. Then financial losses. Of course, if they set your product ablaze, your money has gone up in smokes. Cost of recall. Because someone told the Nigerian, give me disposal instruction for the product. Do you want me to burn it, or do you want me to send it back to you at your own cost? I don't know which option you will choose if you find yourself in such a position. The next one is reputational damage. This one is the biggest. You cannot quantify it in Naira and Kobo. Long-term damage to brand credibility in international market. Of course, it also results in market access restriction. There's something I want to correct. You guys were talking about export licensing. Please, there's no export licensing in Nigeria. There is no export licensing in Nigeria. What you have is registration with the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, which is for statistical purpose. Of course, if you don't do the registration, you will not be able to export. But that's not a license. For other African countries that are here, it is possible there's licensing in their country. But in Nigeria, I hear that some fake consultants will be telling people, I can help you to get a export license. By the way, it is online. Go to Nigeria Export Promotion Council website. If you have a challenge, if you are in Lagos, please go to Apapa. If you are in Abuja, go to the office. In fact, they have office in almost all the states of the Federation. So there's no export licensing. Don't listen to anybody who says you want to get to an export license. So let's go. This is the definition of export compliance. Ensuring products, processes, documentation, facilities, packaging, labeling, and logistics meet the requirements of importing countries before shipment. You can see that it's a whole lot. Product, the process through which you produced, the documentation which you prepare, the facilities that you're using, the packaging, and also the labeling, plus the logistics. So it's a whole lot. So in products, what they are looking at quality, safety, and specification standard. They must get every product category. You can see something going on by the right. That's food. Processes, manufacturing, handling, and storage. Of course, GMP manufacturing, we will look at all that. And storage processes must align with international standards. documentation, all required trade regulatory and certification
I think Dr. Biora is having a bit of network issues. Let's give him a few minutes to reconnect, and we'll continue from where he stopped. So let's be patient. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, let me share again. Where is it? Okay, are you guys hearing me now?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, sorry about the interruption. I was talking about documentation. All required documents, regulatory and certification documents must be accurate and complete. So let's go for the next one. Compliance starts before marketing. Please take note of this. What many exporters focus on is the product, the pricing, and the promotion, the 3 Ps. But this is what successful exporters concentrate on. Compliance, meeting all regulatory and requirements upfront. Certification, obtaining internationally accepted or recognized quality certifications. Then documentation, building a complete, accurate documentation framework. Market requirements, understanding destination country standards before marketing. Because actually, if you have the quality of what you're selling, that is actually part of what you are going to use to gain access into the market. The mere fact that you say, okay, I make you an offer, this is the attachment of the quality of what I'm selling, it portrays professionalism at the other end. So please take note. Follow the one that successful exporters focus on. Now, export readiness framework. 5 pillars form the foundation of a complete export compliance system. Every exporter must address all 5 before pursuing international markets. Number 1, business compliance. Your business itself. For Nigerians, to business, you must register with Export Promotion Council. To register with Export Promotion Council, you must have a limited liability company or a cooperative with export as part of the object clause. Now, so company registration and tax identification, they go together. Governance structure. If you are the MD, you are the documentation, you are the procurement officer, you are the accountant, you are everything, you are walking into trouble from the beginning. Banking arrangements for export transactions must be in place. Then pillar 2, product compliance, meeting quality, safety, labeling, and specification standard. Let me say something here. Once an importer tells you you should send the goods, that the goods will be inspected at destination, please run away. So whoever is buying from you must be willing to appoint a third-party inspection agent. In your country, there are a lot of them, SGS, Cotecna, Bureau Veritas, and they are across African countries. Because the certificate of quality that will be issued by this internationally recognized inspection agents will count. Pillar 3, facility compliance, ensuring production facilities meet GMP, HACCP, and buyer audit requirements. Pillar 4, documentation compliance, maintaining accurate, complete, and timely trade and regulatory documentation. Pillar 5, logistics compliance, ensuring packaging, labeling, Incoterms, and shipping arrangements meet all requirements. I hope I am communicating. Can someone let me know that I am communicating?
Yes, you are, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's move a step. Global compliance requirements. This is what you need to, this slide is very important to you. Can your product really legally enter the markets that we're talking about without being stopped? EU, food safety, scientific risk assessment, traceability, and consumer protection. EC regulation, that's also EU, rules on safety, hygiene, labeling, and the rest of them. Then MRLS, maximum allowable pesticide residue levels in food products. The residue that I talked about was chemical. FDA, that's for US. Food facility registration. If you're doing production, your facility has to be approved. Then, of course, food safety, labeling, and preventive controls. USDA, US Department of Agriculture, plant health, animal health, organic standards, and phytosanitary compliance. When we get to documentation, we'll talk about some of this. Then CBP, that's US Customs Documentation, Tariff Classification, Valuation, and Rules of Origin. FSA, sorry, UK, Food Safety, Hygiene, Labeling, and Traceability. HMRC, that's also UK, Customs Declaration, Tariffs, VAT, and Trade Compliance. CFIA, that's Canada, Food, Plant, and Animal Import Standards. They have it over there. If it doesn't meet it, you have a problem. CBSA, that's also Canada, Custom Clearance, Valuation, Classification, and Border Compliance. Halal, that's a Muslim requirement, required for many Muslim majority markets to ensure product meet Islamic standards. GSO, harmonized standards for safety, labeling, packaging, and quality across Gulf countries. So you can see different parts of the world with different requirements. But indeed, you can think something runs in common in all of them. Food safety, hygiene, labeling, traceability. Then, of course, the documentation side. So the key takeaway here is that successful exporters don't just sell products. They comply with the regulatory requirements of every target market. Of course, if you do not, you will not sell. Now, I did something. I had to go and get quality parameters for some products. First of all, almost all the products we're talking about are agric. And one major challenge for all agric products is moisture across all of them. So what I've done here is that there's a sesame seed, there is cocoa, and there's dry split ginger. Just to use as an example, you can find whatever product you have, you can find for it. Now, moisture content, typically for sesame seed, less than or equal to 6%. For cocoa beans, typically less than or equal to 7.5. Dry split ginger, typically or equal to 10 to 12%. So I'm probably not going to go through everything that is in here, otherwise we won't. So, but look at other things, purity and cleanliness. I did talk about sesame seed that we have achieved the 98% purity level. What does it mean to be pure? Free from stones, sand, dust, and foreign matter. Then, of course, you have color. You have size and uniformity. You have odor and aroma. You have mold and infestation. You have defective material. You have food safety compliance and then packaging. You can check the rest of the things here to interpret these things that we have on the left here. So the key message here, global buyers do not buy products. They buy quality. They buy consistency. They buy safety. They buy compliance. So meeting quality specifications is the first step towards successful export market access and repeat business. Because one thing is to get export market access. The other thing is, after one transaction, can you do another one with the same clients? Business registration. We have talked about that, so we'll skip it. I mentioned that when I was talking about registration with Export Promotion Council. Export registration with relevant authorities, Export Promotion Agency registration, all this we have talked about. Understanding product regulation. One standard does not fit all products. Each commodity category carries its own regulatory requirement in every destination market. Processed foods, processed. One thing you must see, labeling, additives, food safety standards, they vary from country to country. For grains, phytosanitary, then moisture and the aflatoxin standards are strictly enforced. Percentages may vary. Sesame, salmonella, and pesticides residue testing are also critical compliance requirements. Cashew, shell content, moisture, and grading standards. They apply in most markets. For cocoa products, cadmium limits, fermentation standards, and certification requirements apply. For spices, aflatoxin. Aflatoxin is a very critical test. I'm not even sure most African countries have facilities for testing it. Pesticides residue, microbial contamination are also key for spices. Then for dry foods, moisture content, preservatives, and packaging standard must be verified. For example, if you are talking about cocoa beans, then you start talking about what bag do you use. It has to be jute bags. Now it's not just jute bags; it has to be carbon-free. So these are things, peculiarities that you find in each product. But of course, you still find some cross-cutting quality specifications. But what happens really is that you cannot proceed to produce anything that you want to sell without receiving specification from your buyer. It is your buyer gives you specification, then you work towards meeting the specification. So let's go. Your market requirements. Before targeting export market, conduct thorough market research to understand the specific regulatory environment assumption. Assumptions are dangerous. That happens. What standards apply? You have to find out. What certificates are mandatory? Very important. Are there import permits? Because if there are import permits, make sure that your buyer has obtained it and send you a copy before you get involved. Otherwise, your goods could be impounded because of his inability to get the permits eventually. What are the residue limits for pesticides, for heavy metals, mycotoxins? They vary from market to market, so you need to find out. What labeling rules apply? Language, format, mandatory. In fact, even date formats can put you into trouble. Just formatting the date. You are saying the same thing, but we say it differently. Food safety compliance is non-negotiable. You know the reason. These are things that people eat and they can kill or make healthy. So no buyer, retailer, or regulatory authority will compromise on food safety standards. It is the foundation of all export compliance. And all the things that you guys are exporting are all edible. So hazard control, identify and control biological, chemical, and physical hazards through the production process. Hygiene systems, implementing rigorous production. You know, when you get into where food is being produced, you see that everybody is having the hair covered. They're wearing this thing on the hand, and then wearing some specific type of shoe. You can't go in without either wearing that type of shoe or stepping on chemicals outside before you can go in. Food safety procedures, document and implement standard operating procedure in your factory. Contamination prevention. What do you have in control to prevent cross-contamination? Then, of course, process controls. Monitor and control critical process parameters, such as temperature, time, and moisture. I hope it is not beginning to look like some people will run away from doing food because of the criticality of this compliance that we're looking at. Let's look at HACCP. It's the internationally recognized systematic approach to identifying and controlling food safety hazards. It is often a mandatory requirement for international buyers and importing country regulators. The question is, are SME exporters with small facilities able to install HACCP facility? That's a question that we have to answer individually. That's why also some of these things we need to start having common facilities. International recognition. HACCP is recognized and required by safety authorities in US, in EU, in UK, and also all major markets. Buyer confidence. HACCP certificate signals to buyers that your production process is in order. Risk reduction. Proactively identifies and eliminates food safety risk before products reach consumers. It also enhances market access. Because you have HACCP certification, doors are open for you. So those who are producing food items, please take note. The other thing is good manufacturing practice, which is expected to happen in every factory, particularly factories where food items are produced at whatever level. So GMP provides the operational foundation for food safety compliance. It establishes minimum standards for facilities, equipment, personnel, and processes in food production nationwide. Example, clean facilities, controlled production, staff hygiene, equipment maintenance, and product consistency. These are items involved in good manufacturing practice, so we must all gear towards meeting it. ISO 22000 Food Safety Management System is also another one. It is a globally recognized standard for food safety management systems. It integrates HACCP principles, structured food safety management, global credibility, improved market acceptance, stronger buyer confidence. You remember that the first quote says that the market is ruthless, selective, and fiercely competitive. Some of these things are actually what is going to give you an edge into the market. Traceability requirements. What is the farm source? What is the batch number? What is the processing date? What is the packaging date? And what is the distribution history? Is it possible for you to have all this in place? The answer is yes. It's just about being painstaking and making sure that things are done right. What you are producing is not meant for your village. Even if it is meant for your village, it is not being produced that people should eat and die. So this is very important. Those from Nigeria, remember my Pekin, one pharmaceutical, my Pekin, it killed one child. What happened immediately? Traceability was easy because of the size of the factory. They were able to look at, they found the source, found the batch, found the processing date, and immediately move into the market and mopped up every of those, that very particular medication. Supplier compliance. Exporters must extend their compliance requirement upstream. Let me say something. Every exporter is as strong as their suppliers. So if you are trying to comply, that compliance must also start from your supplier, or else you will be messed up. Approved supplier list you have to have, supplier audits, product specifications, quality records. Let me say at this point that for SMEs, some of the things we are talking about may sound like Greek, and it will be like, how does that, how do we get there? It doesn't mean everything that is here, but the fact is that you can put seriousness and develop your line. I know people who are processing food and shipping food items to the US. They have FDA. In fact, a couple of them. They are not that big. Quality specifications. Every product destined for export market must have documented quality specification. That's why I say, let the buyer give it to you. Or when you are making your quotation, you can send what you have to the buyer. But ultimately, it is what the buyer says he wants that you will supply. Moisture limits, purity standards, that's a number of foreign bodies inside the thing, defect tolerance, defective, broken, or discolored units, weight standards, net weight accuracy tolerance for packaged product must meet buyer and regulatory standards. Shelf life specifications must also be documented, particularly for produced food items, including minimum remaining shelf life as at shipment. Laboratory testing. Laboratory testing provides objective evidence that your product meets the required standard. Testing must be completed before shipment. For example, you are doing sesame seed or whatever product. You go to SGS, they have lab. You give it to them, they do the testing. And of course, if your buyer has already appointed SGS, what it means is that once your product is ready, SGS will come and inspect, test in the lab, and then issue a quality certificate. Once it meets standard, your troubles are over. Microbiology testing will include total plate count, Salmonella, Listeria, and the rest of them. And heavy metal analysis, lead, cadmium, and others. Aflatoxin testing, mycotoxin analysis for groundnuts, maize, sesame, and spices destined for EU and US markets. So know that and have peace. Aflatoxin test, I don't know where it is done now. I don't know whether they are doing it in Nigeria. And if it is not being done, then you have a problem of having it done on at destination, which is risky. Pesticide residue testing, multi-residue screening against maximum residue limits. Moisture content, moisture analysis to verify compliance with storage quality. That's why you get fumigation certificates, and then of course the testing by the inspection agents will cover most of what you have here. Aflatoxin compliance. For groundnuts, EU limit is 4 ppb. Maize, aflatoxin B1 limits apply in most markets. For sesame, aflatoxin testing is increasingly required by Asian and European buyers of African sesame seed. For spices, chili, pepper, and other spices face strict aflatoxin limits in EU, UK, and the US markets. Where does this aflatoxin, I think it's a lot more about handling. A lot, because when the moisture is too high, then of course it starts with moldy and other things will follow. Pesticide compliance. Importing countries maintain maximum residue limits for pesticides, just like I did mention what happened in our beans. Products already in the market may be recalled at the exporter's cost if residue exceeds MRLS, which we saw in the other side. Cross-border rejection, they can stop the product at the border, lead to sanctions. Always test against the MRLS of your specific destination market, not your home country standard, because your product is going. Packaging compliance. Protect the product, preserve quality, meet buyers' requirements, and then meet regulatory standards. Packaging. All these are compliance. Labeling, product name, ingredients list, net weight, country of origin, production and expiry dates, batch number. You can see examples here. There's no corner cuts in here. Nutritional labeling, calories, sodium, carbohydrate, protein, fat, sugar. This is export documentation framework. A complete and accurate documentation package is essential for export shipment. Missing or incorrect documents can delay clearance, trigger inspection, or result in outright rejection. If I sit down to teach documentation, it will take an average of 7 to 8 hours, because We will pick up the documents one by one and deal with every document have discrepancies that are likely to occur, which you can decode as an exporter before you allow it to happen. For example, commercial invoice describes the goods. It describes the quantity, the value, the buyer, the seller, the payment terms must match all other documents. So the first rule in documentation is that documents should not just be correct on themselves, but they must agree with one another. What that means is that one document is saying that that the product you are shipping is 90 kg. Another document is saying that it is 85 kg. Independently, nothing is wrong with them. But when you bring them together and say it is for a particular shipment, you already entered into trouble. Because it is not possible that one shipment will have two weights. Packing lists, detailed breakdown. Certificate of origin certifies the country of production and enable preferential tariffs in the case of trade agreements. If you want to trade food items within African countries under AFTA, then you must use an AFTA certificate of origin. Once in ECOWAS, the ETLS, ECOWAS ETLS. So it's once there's an agreement, there must be something that will prove that this product complies and that it will enable you to receive the benefits attached to it. Okay. So bill of lading, very important document. The most important aspect of it is that it is a document of title. You misplace it, your goods can be belonging to someone else. Inspection certificate, that is the third-party verification that I talked about, that if your buyer is not willing to appoint an inspection agent here, don't continue. You continue at your... So this is a typical certificate of origin. It's issued by the National Chamber of Commerce of every country in the world. In Nigeria, it is NACIMA. But I think NACIMA also approved for Lagos Chamber of Commerce to issue the certificate of origin. I don't know whether they approved any other Chamber of Commerce in the country. Phytosanitary certificate is an official document that certifies agricultural products are free from pests, diseases, and other regulated organisms. They are issued by the National Plant Product Organization of the export country. It is quarantine. Quarantine is a department of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. All grains, including maize, wheat, sorghum, all of them need phytosanitary certificate. Sesame seeds face particularly strict phytosanitary requirements, including germination testing and variety certification. For other agro products, dry fruits, nuts, and other agricultural products may require phytosanitary certificate inspection and certification depending on destination. Just like today, there are countries where you are traveling to, you must have your yellow card. If you don't have it, you come back from the airport. But there are countries who do not really care. Health certificates, if called for, food products, agricultural exports, processed food products, they are all subject to it. So always confirm health certificate requirements with your buyer and the importing country's embassy or trade authority before shipment. Buyer compliance audits, facilities, fiscal inspection, your buyer can come to inspect your facility, storage, all your handling. Documentation review of all quality, safety, and compliance. Quality systems, very critical to international buyers. Food safety systems. Now, Incoterms. If you are an exporter, you must know Incoterms. Incoterms is the navigating tool for international trade. It defines the responsibility of the buyer, the seller in international transactions, including that of the carrier. Your compliance obligations including who is responsible for export clearance, freight insurance, and import clearance, depend on the agreed Incoterm. There are 11 Incoterms. 4 are strictly for shipment by sea. The other 7 are for any mode of transportation. You have Ex-Works. We don't have time to go into the details, but what Incoterms does is that it say, let's take FOB, for example, a seller's responsibility for export clearance and loading, most common for African commodity export. That is to say, as soon as you put the container, if it's a container load, inside a vessel, your responsibility finishes. Even if the ship sinks after they've dropped the distance, you have no business. You're asking for your money. The buyer will have to sort himself out because what you guys agreed is free on board. Repeat. Ex-Works, you produce, you have a warehouse which he has inspected and agreed. Once you put it in the warehouse, you get a paper from the warehouse that you have dropped it there. You ask for your money while the goods are still in your premises or any other designated warehouse. So CFR is cost and freight, CIF is cost, insurance, and freight, DAP, delivered at place named, DDP, that is door to door. You, the exporter, is responsible until the goods enter the customer's warehouse. Every exporter will prefer Ex-Works, and every importer will prefer DDP. But both of you will have to agree. And let me say something about Incoterms. The buyer and the seller have a right to choose, but if your country has chosen an Incoterms and said that that is what they want to use, it becomes a law. We don't have any challenge in Nigeria as far as export is concerned. You can do whichever. But for import, we knew that before, it's either CIF or nothing. You can't do import on FOB before. So that's that. Payment compliance. Due diligence is very important because I've seen people lose money for not doing due diligence. Verify buyer legitimacy. Agree on payment terms. You also have to understand the payment methods. Advance payment, open account, bills for collection, letter of credit. Letter of credit is the one that protects you very, very well. But of credit is not easy. So you might have to take some risk. But even in taking that risk, I advise people, do trial shipment. Don't, you don't know the person. You want to take a chance with either open account or bills for collection, and then you ship 3 containers at a time. How? Understanding banking requirements and foreign exchange documentation. You must understand payment methods. I don't have time to tell you the story of young people who did export. The buyer asked them, which method of payment do you want to use? And they said, anyone. And the man knew that they don't understand what they are talking about. The man also said, okay, the goods will be inspected at destination. They said there's no problem because they didn't understand. At the end of the day, they lost $37,000. Sanctions and restricted party screening. I will skip this. Record keeping requirement. You must keep record of your transactions. You must keep record of your transactions. In fact, for years, until it becomes status bad. Production records, testing records, shipment records, certification records, customer transaction records. Very, very important. Digital compliance. ERP, traceability software, compliance dashboard, quality systems. These are for big companies. SMEs can do without, or there are simpler technology that SMEs can use. Some of the AI platforms can in fact create digital platforms where you can do a whole lot of things. CRM, quality, different types of KPI dashboards. So compliance readiness scorecard, registration, product standards, certifications, documentation, and logistics. This is the scorecard. So you can tick the ones that has been done, but they must be complete before you ship. Common mistakes of exporters: chasing orders before compliance, ignoring documentation, weak quality control, poor packaging, no traceability, and lack of certifications. You can see the gentleman, look at his face, rejected, all the documents that he's carrying in his hand. Export compliance roadmap. I think we've gone over registration, facility certification, documentation, and market entry. So what I've done here is to create an export compliance checklist. Before the deal arrives, are you export ready? Business and regulatory, product compliance, certification and standard, documentation readiness, trade compliance, logistics and financial readiness. So if you can tick all the boxes that you have, let me say so. All the boxes must be ticked before you, but the fact is that of ticking it is that you identify where you need to work on. That is the essence. Compliance before the search for buyers. Compliance readiness transforms opportunities into successful transactions. Key takeaway: the best time to prepare for export compliance is before. Compliance creates credibility, creates market access, and market access creates growth. Why export compliance is a strategic imperative. The new reality: key compliance risk, incorrect HS classification, even though that may not be at your end, rules of origin violation, export documentation errors, product quality standards non-compliance, sanctions and restricted party violations, and customs delays and cargo seizures. Export compliance war room. My company developed a new training mode for supply chain. It applies to freight forwarders. It applies to exporters. It's called the war room. The war room command structure is a situation where there is a command structure that enables things to happen. Preparations are done before crisis comes. So, for example, the mission: deliver full compliant export with zero avoidable disruption. War room team: the export manager, the compliance officer, custom and trade specialist, quality assurance lead, logistics coordinator, finance and trade officer, freight forwarder, and regulatory liaison office. So these guys have to meet. Those are members of the war room, and decide on a whole lot of things put in place as regulation before anything happens. There's need for a war room dashboard: shipment readiness status, documentation completion, permit approvals, quality certification, custom clearance process progress, customer delivery status. Command principle: detect risk early, decide quickly, and execute flawlessly. So the RAPID compliance playbook. RAPID is a supply chain framework developed by Multimix Academy. So I just took one slide of how it can apply to trade compliance. Here is before shipment, here is during shipment, here is after shipment. I think I've exceeded my time. So closing message, export success is not measured by the number of containers shipped. It is measured by the number of containers that reach global markets without compliance failures. Through the rapid supply chain framework and the supply chain war room, exporters can transform compliance from a regulatory obligation into a source of competitive advantage. We run certifications in global trade, which is import-export and compliance certification. People who need it, trade compliance officers, export, and so on and so forth. I don't need to waste time there. If you get it and you're interested, you can connect. So here is my contact details here. And I want to thank you for listening. It's been a marathon, and I didn't stop for questions, but I do know that those who have questions will have jotted them down or probably put them on the chat. So I will stop sharing and hand over to the moderator. I can see a hand already. The moderators, please take over. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Madu. We're so grateful and excited. This has been a very rich and insightful session. A lot of our participants here have been saying, oh, wow, this is a great session. People like Ahmed said, wow, this is a great session. Camille was like, thank you for the clarity, especially on export licensing. And Raphael is saying, actually, if you have a book that covers this topic, just to show you how much they enjoyed your class. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. We will be taking questions now. I know he has just a very short time frame, so we want you to make your questions brief. We can do 2 or 3 questions if that's okay by you, Dr. Madu. 2, 3 questions, is that fine by you?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay. Let's just as much as you want to allow.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll start first with Frank, who has raised up his hand. Please kindly unmute, be brief, and ask your question. Thank you.
Stephen.
Thank you so much, Doc. I appreciate your insights. So my first thing is that it's to African Food. Will we get the recording of this training, which is very helpful? How do we get it? Now, Doc, please. One thing I want to ask is that I'm into fruit processing. We make fruit juices, dried fruit, and stuff like that. One of the difficulties we often have is the logistical challenge in terms of fruit juices, right, to export them. But you didn't touch on aspects of those in the cold chain, what we have to put in place to be very ready in terms of exports.
Okay, I'm not sure I heard you completely, but you are talking about fruit juice and the challenge, and I think you said logistical. First of all, one of the challenges in fruit juice is preservatives and chemical residues. So these are major challenges. In terms of logistics, I think it's basically starts from packaging and then shipment. Why shipment is critical is that the carriage will have to go through a normal process. I'll give you an example. A company, I think it was a bit of fruit, fresh pineapple, and the instruction on the container was stow away from heat. But unfortunately, the shipping company put the container close to the engine. And by the time it got to UK, 25% of the product had gone. So a good knowledge of what goes on among the issues that we have discussed will help. So I have my email address on the contact list. So I didn't quite get the question, but if you do me a mail, I can respond properly. So that because we don't have time.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So we'll go to the next person. Stephen, please unmute and speak. He's listening to you right now.
There are two
Thank
other
you.
hands raised. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I came in at a time when some data percentages were being displayed on the screen. I quickly saw that 42% of MSMEs have no documentation in place, 10% are ready, 69% have no export license. To me, this means a lot. That it means the figures show that probably in Africa has a strong pipeline of food MSMEs with export potential, especially in processed food. But most are not yet, we are not yet ready. We are not yet export ready. And I think the gap is not only in markets or products, but it is in compliance systems. So as African food change makers, what is your take on this? These figures speak volumes. Thank you.
Well,
Okay,
let me say
thank you.
something. I think you asked the
Okay.
question to African change makers. I'm not, I am a member by association. But what I want to say is that there's a limit to what African food can do for you. Through this program, you may have identified places. They did a research to say this percentage have document, this percentage does not have at all. So one thing is that exporting have become knowledge intensive. It has become knowledge intensive. So you must learn. While I'm not trying to advertise, my company runs export and global trade and compliance certifications. And apart from my company, there are other people who run. So you must learn. There must be some learning to happen. There must be some learning. I'm sure that maybe African foods will break it down into some minute learning to prepare people. I would want them to take it off here, but I'm saying that you must become knowledgeable. You must understand what business you're going into. Over to you, African food.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for responding to that question. So we'll go right to Taufik. Taufik, you can unmute and speak.
There's Frank, if Taufik is not there.
If Taufik is not, okay, Taufik is already responding.
Can you hear me now, please?
Yes,
Yes.
you can. Go ahead.
I really appreciate Mr. Amadu for this presentation and our moderator as well. So my question is that all Mr. Amadu have been talking about livestock. Can exportation be done with that? I'm a young guy from Nigeria, so that's why I'm asking this question. I'm into livestock supply.
You say, can export be done without what?
With livestock. And
network issue.
Okay, I think he's asking if you can export livestock, if it's a viable product to export.
yes, that's what I'm asking.
I think what will happen, there are products that are exported with license or permits from the relevant ministries and agencies, and livestock is part of it. Livestock is part of it. Different types of livestock. So there's a department in Federal Ministry of Agriculture that can answer that question and also issues permit if it is allowable. Some of them are on the export prohibition list.
Okay, Thank you very
Adana, you
much.
still have a lot
Dr.
of
Madu.
people. How many do you want to take? Or are we
Yes,
closing?
we have. No, you just give them brief answers. If they want more further clarifications, they can reach out to you. So, Raphael, please go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Raphael Osazogi, and I'm from Edo State. I do cassava processing and I farm too. Sir, I want to ask if your teaching, if it's being compiled into a book so we can buy and gain from the knowledge of that book. And secondly, how can you encourage somebody like me who sell my product to Africa shops in the US? I have about 6 clients in the US, about 4 in the UK, and I'm trying to take to Sweden. As I'm talking to you now, we are working on it. How can you encourage us since we are unable to meet up certification standard? Because NAFDAC have come, they say we need to bring the structure down and start again. That is what we are doing now. How can you encourage us, sir? Thank you, sir.
I think you are very, I'll doff my hat for you for actually already having clients, because one of the biggest challenges in the food business is actually to find the clients. Why? Because it's not like cocoa and all these ones that you can, it has to be in so many containers. Because for food business, you can do less than, you can do a quarter of a container, and then you can do groupage. So the only thing I'll say is that if you already have people that you are exporting to, the next thing you should do is to concentrate on compliance. All these things that we have listed, for example, I don't know where you process, but see if you can get FDA papers. Once you get that, you are covered in the US, and then get the one for UK. Because that, in fact, you will see your export blow as soon as you're able to do that. It may cost some money. It may cost some money. And since you have been exporting, you can still be exporting, but you need to concentrate on making sure that you comply to everything that is required. That way, more market will be open to you. As for the book, yes, I've done books. I've done 10 books. 5 of them relate to import and export. So my email address is in my contact list, so you can reach me. You can also my LinkedIn profile and address is there. So reach out. The books are there. I will direct you to the online stores for soft copies. Those who are in Nigeria can buy hard copies.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Madu. I would give the floor to Fatima. I think we've not had a female talk, so go ahead, Fatima. And we'll take one more, and that'll be the last question on this segment. Fatima, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead, please.
My name is Fatima. Yeah, my name is Fatima Mustafa from Kano State, Nigeria. I'm into production of cashiatura coffee and sweet potato flour and spices.
Okay.
My problem is I'm also registered with NAFDAC. So my problem is I've not started exporting, so I want to go into exporting process. And even though I'm no other capital, more in the aspect of because of the compliance of exporting out, I will need someone to help me so that we can partner together. Maybe I can start small. Later on, I will improve in export. I need some networking and also someone to lead me through. And your presentation, sir, is very incentive. I really appreciate your presentation. And I wish you all the best and God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think what you need to do, you see, when I was talking, I did mention cooperative. I have all my life in export tried to bring people together to export, because this thing you're talking about, and I did talk about groupage shipping. So you don't have to have a container. You can have just small quantity. 5 people can use 1 container to ship. And that's where issues of cooperatives come in. But it looks like collaboration is not in our DNA. So all the ones I've tried to assist to put together. So, but for you, you have an association. I talked about common facility. There just has to be a way. Get a government agency to assist. If you know that you have the desire to export, you are small, you can still export. But like all these compliance documents, if there's a common facility, all the FDA documents will be available for everybody who uses that particular facility. So this is a situation where exporters can take up with state governments, demand for some of these things. Look, we are cooperative. You said you belong to women, whatever. That demand assistance towards setting up a common facility. When that common facility is set up, you get the Food and Drugs of America to inspect it, get EU people to inspect it, and the certificate, everybody who processes there gets this thing. So these things are unfortunately not rocket science. It's not something that cannot be done, but I don't know. But my email is in my contact. You can reach out to me. Maybe I can find someone to hand you over to.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And we will take the last person to speak, Funsani, before we take 2 questions from the chat. Funsani, please unmute and speak. Are you speaking? You're muted if you are. Funsani. Okay, let's go to Musa. Musa, please unmute and speak. Ask your question.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for the insightful information you give us this afternoon. Sir, we really appreciate. My question goes in this way. Please, sir, I'm into aggregating business. Like I'm aggregating soybean, cashew nuts to Olam, Wakot, but I'm intending to take it to export level. But I don't know how to get the buyers from international countries so that I can start doing it. I don't know if there is a way you can put me through so that I can be doing that, sir.
Hello? African food. I don't know if you guys have yeah, someone wants to speak.
Yeah, I think I was trying to unmute, but then there was a challenge. Just a quick question as well.
Okay, hold on, Funsani, just a minute, please. Let him complete his statement to Musa. Okay, you were saying something, sir.
Yeah, so I was saying that I don't know the kind of arrangements that the African food has towards assisting with market identification. Of course, it's only those who are members of African food that can access that, if they have. But I'm sure also that it is possible for you to access some knowledge on how to break into the international market. All that is possible. All that is possible. So, but not within a 1.5 hour webinar program. You can reach out to me so that we can answer other people's questions before we leave. Over to you, Adanna.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, we're working towards doing something on, helping non-exporters.
Market access, that's fine.
Yes, market access and the rest of it. So all that is going to come within this year, given our new accelerator model. Thank you very much, sir, for answering that question. Should we give, okay, Funsani, please go ahead before we go to the chat.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Mine is a quick one. My name is Funsani from Zambia. We're into export of tobacco. But now the challenge that we are having as a company is on LCs. We've got some orders with some international clients, but then they're insisting on LCs, and we're having that difficulty. I don't know how best you can advise us on that. Thank you.
Hold on. They are insisting on LC, or they are willing to issue LC. Because if you are the exporter, you are not the one that will issue the LC. It's the buyer that will issue the LC.
Yes, it's the buyer that will issue the LC. But then what they want is we ship the tobacco. When it reaches the other side, that's when they can process that LC. But then for us to ship, we're having difficulties in terms of resources. We can't ship at a go, let's say 20, 40-foot containers.
Okay, I think there's a confusion there. Your shipment, the basis of your shipment will emanate from the LC. How it happens is that your client will issue you an irrevocable letter of credit. When you receive, you follow the instructions in the credit to make shipment. The LC cannot be issued after the product has arrived at the other end. That's abnormal. And if you take that risk, you might lose all your money. So,
okay, so I think what I'll do, Doc, is I think I'll drop you an email. I think I have your contact.
No,
yeah,
please
do.
So please do, because it's not sounding normal. Please do.
Thank you, sir. Let's give Tessa the floor. She's been raising her hand. Please go ahead, Tessa, unmute.
Good afternoon, Adana. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Dr. Madu, for your presentation. It was very insightful. My name is Tessa Nachinji Anderson. I'm a global food regulatory expert for the last 20 years for the EU and UK markets. So I joined the webinar because I wanted to understand what the challenges are that African businesses face, and I've heard some of the questions and queries. So my question really is always solution orientated. How can we facilitate knowledge for individuals? Because, you know, we receive clients on a one-on-one basis, and then they pay for consultations, and then they get advice on what they need to do, and they get training. So I'm based in Uganda, and there are a lot of cooperatives. So what is a way that we can facilitate learning so that specific businesses can get their products out to market? Thank you.
Is that question for me or for African? Tessa, I saw you are this thing. Obviously, you are carrying some of the solution that the people who are here are looking for. I don't know. Can you please just repeat your question? Hello, Tessa.
Yeah, sorry, I was just muted. So what I was asking about is, what is the solution for African businesses to be able to plug that information gap so that they can receive what they need? Yes, we do offer some solutions, but it sounds like there are a lot of different businesses in the same situation. Sometimes it's knowledge that they need, information, readiness before. I don't know if there are sometimes financial challenges. So you might, from your experience with working with African businesses, have some suggestions, and maybe also the organizers as well. So I'm interested to hear what the way forward would be. Thank you.
Okay, from experience, one can say that the SMEs particularly have a very huge challenge in exporting generally. In fact, export readiness check is very, very critical to even find out who is even ready to export. Then the knowledge that is required, because when I saw your website there, I said, okay, this is someone who can offer. Right now, you can notice from the discussion that there's actually nowhere that they should go and be able to get this information online. So it will be a good thing to discuss with you, and also create a a platform that can collaborate with African foods, where, because exporters' biggest challenge is information access. They don't have information. Otherwise, some of the things we are discussing here cannot be sounding new. So that information platform is not available, but I think something can be done about it. And we can take the discussion offline and see what is possible. Also, we can speak to African food in the process.
Thank you, Dr. Madu. That is a very good suggestion, because I know that even with clients that we work with, they find navigating the UK legislation and the US legislation challenging, because although the information is there are multiple sources. You have legislation, you have the food authorities, you have case precedences of what has been allowed and what has not. And the food safety authorities always refer them back to consultants. Governments do their best to provide a place, but we find membership societies often provide more structured guidance, maybe for like frozen foods or agricultural products. So it's definitely good to hear that suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Madu. Thank you, Tessa, for that question. I will take one question from the chat, and the person is saying, please, sir, highlight more on the newly launched NSW for exporters and importers alike.
Okay. The National Single Window is a trade facilitation project. Before the single window, for you to export, if you have one document that you want to upload for government, for regulatory agencies, you have to send it one by one to them. But National Single Window is providing a platform where if you upload it once, everybody will have access to it. One of the objectives is to make it easier for shipments to happen at the port. Both import and export clearance time will be shortened. So it's something that will facilitate movement of goods in and out of the country. So it's a fantastic project. The one we have still have some teething challenges, natural with technology. So that is it. It is something that can help. Yes, you can access it as an exporter, but don't forget that every issue relating to your goods, once it enters the port, is not for you to handle. That is for the freight forwarder to handle. It's for you to know the right documents, provide it to the freight forwarder or the custom broker, who will now deal with issues of the port and the shipment, because that is where the single window serves. Your interest as an exporter is that it makes life a lot easier. Your goods move faster. Your money comes quicker. That's basically what the single window is all about.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, Dr. Obiora. I want us to show our love and appreciation to Dr. Madu for this detailed session. It takes a lot to, speak through experts and the requirement, compliance. It's a whole lot, but Dr. Madu was able to bring it and crunch it in 40 minutes. So let's say thank you. Let's show our love to him. And we would like to take a photograph with you, Dr. Obiora, if you don't mind. I want everybody to... Go ahead. Okay. I would like every one of us here to, open our cameras and enable your cameras. Let's see your beautiful faces, and let Dr. Obiora see you as well, so we can remember this day that we had a very great session. Dr. Obiora, if you don't mind, kindly drop your contact detail, your email, especially, so that a lot of our participants here will be able to
Do I drop it on the chat? Is it on the chat?
Yes, please drop it on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of hands are still up wanting to ask questions, but we don't have the time. So kindly drop your email address so that they can reach you, and possibly your office contact details. we know we'll be seeing more of Dr. Obiora if he doesn't mind. We love having and hearing him speak. So are we all?
I've dropped my email address on the platform.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So have we all enabled our camera? I can see a lot of cameras not enabled. Please, let's see your camera up so we can see your faces. Yeah. The team, are we ready to snap? Are we ready to snap? Please, let's take the picture. Let's take the picture. Put up a lovely smile so that we can snap and remember this day. Okay. Are we good to go, team? Okay, I think we're good to go. Thank you so much, sir. Once again, we love you and we wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you, sir.
All right, my pleasure. I'm available anytime you guys want me. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. We are grateful. Thank you.
All right.
All right. So while we allow Dr. Obiora to log off, we are going to be hearing from our membership coordinator, actually our membership, Nosa Obano, who is going to be taking us through our membership drive. For a lot of us here who are not yet members of AFC Hub, we need you to join because a lot of these benefits are there. We are doing a lot more to meet your needs, as well as to be able to support you as a business. I'm seeing the poll that is up. Please, if you can see the poll on your screen, kindly choose the options that relate to you. We want to understand we want to get your understanding on the export compliance for today. If you are able to get information that is useful to you, we want to know. So kindly click the options that applies to you. While we do that, we have Nosa Obano coming up to speak to us. I don't know if is Nosa here on the call.
Hi, Ada. Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Thank you.
Okay. So we would give you the floor to run through the membership drive. And please, let's take the poll. It's on the screen. Kindly take it. Let's do that fast so we can be able to finish on time. Thank you, Nosa. Go ahead, please.
All right, Ada. Thank you so much. And please, if you can move the slide to the next slide. While we have participants taking the poll, I also want to use this medium to appreciate everyone that joined the call. I know we all had one or two key takeaways from the expert session, and I believe it's worth taking note of into our businesses. Like Ada said, African Food Chain Makers is here to accelerate your agribusiness. And before I always start my membership drive, I like to know my audience. I want to know those on the call, if you are part of the community or if you have a lot of new potential members on this call. So if you're a community member, kindly put in the chat box, I am a change maker, so I can identify my people. While we do that, AFC is a membership-based platform and we accelerate agribusinesses across Africa. Currently, we have thank you everyone that is putting in the chat box. Thank you, Messi. We have over 10,000 members from 50 African countries, and we always promote our agribusinesses. We always support them with resources, opportunities, networking events, and also capacity building initiatives to help them scale their businesses. For non-members on the call, you are a step away from becoming part of the community. All you have to do is visit the AFC website or follow the link that have been dropped in the chat box by my colleagues to log into the membership join the community page. Once you access that page, you'll be required to answer a few questions. So the good thing about the membership sign-up page is that you can always start and save your sign-up progress. So once you start this registration and you're unable to complete it on a particular day, you can always save for later And you can, when next you want to continue registration, you just need to input the email that you started with, and you'll be sent a code for you to continue your registration. Once you finish your registration, you click on submit, and we on the membership admin end will get a notification and review your membership application. So our community is open to agribusinesses across the value chain in the sector, and you must be a legally registered agribusinesses in anywhere across the African continent, and should be in existence for at least 6 months before signing up to the AFC membership community. And once you verified your membership details and we've approved from our end, you'll be directed to your membership dashboard, where you can easily see all our updates, our features, our details, and other community members in the AFC hub that you can connect with and engage in our interactions, in our conversations, and all our sessions that we have. Also, you'll be added to you receive a link to join the AFC WhatsApp group, where you can also engage in informal dialogue, informal conversations, marketplace, and all other activities going on in the membership community. Next slide, please. So if you have members on this call that are yet to join the community, kindly use the link and start your membership progress. Yes, and speaking to members on this call and non-members, potential members, we all know that our Agribusiness Clinic is coming up next week, and the topic for this session is from buyers to buyers, unlocking agri-food market access, and registration is ongoing. We have expert-led panel sessions where we have several guest speakers that will come and share experiences, come and engage with the audience, and also share insights into the agri-food market space for potential export-led agribusinesses to leverage on. And we indulge everyone on this call to follow the link and register. This coming Thursday, next week, we will be having this session, and we encourage everyone on the call to please participate in this. Over to you, Ada. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nosa. That was brief. Thank you very much. I would like to request Tessa, kindly reach out to African food chain makers. I didn't want to contribute to the question you asked because of time. So kindly reach out to us. We have a lot to talk about. Tessa, who asked Dr. Madu a question. Thank you very much. We'll be putting the AFC email on the chat for you to see, so you could reach out to us. We need more people to answer the poll. We just have 26 people who have taken the poll. The poll is very short. It's just to click on one option, and that's it. You're done with the poll. So please, I need more people to give us your answers to those polls, so we can have a level of understanding on and gauge your depth of understanding of the export compliance topic we did today. So please do us a favor. We'll also share that same feedback with Dr. Obiora on how you guys have enjoyed today's session. So kindly do so. That being said, I would move to the next steps, and then we'll conclude this series we have for the month of June. We are expecting to roll out Scaling Export Program 2.0 this year. We want everyone who is interested in knowing more about exports to anticipate this program. This will be coming soon, towards the end of this year. We also would be looking forward to roll out the AFRI 1.0. I was expecting Nosa to talk about it. It's more on finance readiness, to be able to prep and support our entrepreneurs when it comes to assessing finance. We would like to also showcase your products on the marketplace. So if you don't have your products yet on the marketplace, this is a good chance for you to, reach out to our membership team and, request on the know-how to upload your products on our marketplace, so that you can have the opportunity to sell your products. We'll also request you to join the AFC WhatsApp group. A lot of transactions are happening. So if you're not there yet, please reach out to NOSA. NOSA, I would kindly request that you put your number or the AFC number where they can join the WhatsApp group. We also would ask you to follow our AFC social media handles. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn. We would like you to follow us and get more details on things that can help you scale your agribusinesses. So from us, anticipate OAS for the month of July. We'll be rolling out another session for the month of July. So please keep your ears to the social media handles where we'll be sharing more information about that. And we'll love to see you again because we'll have more interesting sessions for you. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Good night, all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.